So I already got a bunch of questions, and actually most of them are related to this thing called Git. And you're like wondering, what is Git? Why am I asked to do this? And all I'm gonna say is, welcome to tertiary school life, kids. Hashtag life skills. You have to go figure out yourself stuff. Okay. So anyway, I'm gonna give you 5 tips for Git, and I hope this video may be something I reuse in future. Anyway, here it is. First, find out what your GitHub account gives you. You're using a public free account from GitHub, most of you, okay? And those things, when free, well, nothing is free in this world, so there's some limits to it, okay? So there are public and private accounts. Private accounts means only you and invited people can see. Public means everyone on the internet can see. So when you make a public account, GitHub gives you more limits. They give you higher storage and all that stuff. So you go find out what the limits are. I put some link here. I'll put these links in the description down below. But anyhow, the only important thing you need to know here is when you make your GitHub account, your repo public, right? Then everybody on the internet can see it, which means you don't want to put stuff that shouldn't be on the internet, such as passwords. And I'll get to that later. So the second thing I want to tell you about is to find out what is a gitignore file. A gitignore file is a file that you put inside the root of your Git repository folder, which is usually your Unity project folder. Okay, so this is a file named gitignore, and you open it with a text editor like Visual Studio Code, you'll see a bunch of stuff inside. Okay, and it tells Unity which files to ignore. Basically means that which files not to publish onto Git. So if you open this one that I put down here, this is the Unity gitignore file. So when you create a new project with GitHub Desktop, it gives you some options maybe to, what kind of project it is. Select Unity. I hope you have already this standard template inside. If not, come here, copy this and put it in your gitignore file, okay? And this would exclude a bunch of stuff that should not be uploaded to Git. Okay, so next thing is, what is git-lfs? You might have heard of this. Git-lfs stands for Git Large File Storage. And as the name implies, it's for you to store large files, which you have a lot of them in your Unity project, right? Your 3D models, your textures, any sound or graphics and stuff like that. These are all going to be pretty large files. Now, anything that's above, I say, a couple of megabytes, you definitely should put them in LFS. And how LFS works is that it is an add-on to Git. If you use GitHub Desktop, I think it's already included. So there's a link here, go read. I'll put this link in the description. But if you're using something like a command line to do Git, you might have to install git-lfs manually. And once you install git-lfs, or even if it's already installed in GitHub Desktop, it doesn't mean it's there, right? You have to initialize git-lfs and then tell git-lfs what files you want to use LFS for. So the term here is track. You need to tell Git to track certain types of files for LFS. For example, OBJ files, TGA files, like PNG files, JPEG files, any file that is large in nature, usually 3D objects, audio, graphics, stuff like that. Okay, so use git-lfs for your big bulky files, and even sometimes any binary files you have. Okay, such as exe or DLL. But anyway, you shouldn't be uploading DLLs and exes to your Git. There shouldn't be any of them there. So the next part is, these are the stuff that you need to add to your gitignore file. You need to add assets/Firebase. You need to add assets/plugin. You need to add TextMesh Pro, all DLL files. And the last one is the most important one, especially if you have a public repository. Get google-services.json file. What is this? Inside there are keys. What are keys? Keys are like passwords to your Firebase account. That's why when you use Google Services on your Unity, it connects to your Firebase account, is because the password is in here. And you don't want to publish this on the public internet. No. You publish this on the internet, some bad actor, a hacker, will take this password that you published and start putting junk on your Firebase account, and you may be in trouble if something indecent is being uploaded there. Okay, so definitely don't publish your Google Services JSON file. Add it to the gitignore to get it excluded from the list. And the final one is, why are we using Git? Well, first, it is a tool that you will definitely use when you go out to work. So that's life skill. But as a teacher, we are using that to review your work. So what we want to see, we definitely want to see the stuff that you did, your code, your 3D models, your scenes, any graphics that you did, audio, whatever. We want to see all the stuff that you made. I don't want to see things like, assets, Firebase, a bunch of all the DLL files inside. I don't need to see any of that. So please don't put that in your Git, okay? And the more important part is we want to see how your Git is used, okay? We want to see commits from every team member who did what, right? And the progress over time. This is important because we want to see how you build up your project. And so when you make a commit to your Git, make sure to write a meaningful message in your Git commit, okay? So it's like, oh, I added this 3D object, or I fixed this bug, or whatever. You type it in your Git commit. That's what the commit message is for. Don't just type, right, test, commit. Don't write that kind of commit messages, okay? Write meaningful ones. So after that, we will see who did what, and over the time, how it progressed. Because if you give me one huge commit, 5 minutes before submission time, and there's only one commit in your Git, it shows me that A, you're not using Git. Then how are you both collaborating? Sharing files on WhatsApp or something, right? And B is like, maybe you didn't even do the work yourself. Maybe it's done by AI. Maybe it's done by, you paid somebody else to do it. Who knows? So I want to see progress. I want to see who did what, and I want to see that whole thing being built up over at least a period of a week or two, okay? So thank you very much for watching, and I wish you good luck for your assignment. See you at week 6, 7.